One night, while home alone, Sarah noticed a strange shadow in the mirror. It moved independently, lurking in the corners of her reflection. As she tried to ignore it, the shadow grew bolder, reaching out towards her. Terrified, Sarah ran out of the room, but the shadow followed her, growing larger and more menacing. She realized that the shadow was not just in the mirror, but it was a malevolent presence haunting her home. Sarah's heart pounded like a drum as she stumbled out of the room, her mind racing with fear and confusion. How could a shadow move so independently, so maliciously? She had always dismissed the idea of the supernatural, but what she witnessed defied all logic. With trembling hands, she fumbled for her phone, desperate to call someone, anyone who could help. But as she dialed, her eyes darted around the dimly lit hallway, half expecting the shadow to materialize from the darkness and consume her. "Hello," came a voice from the other end of the line, breaking through the suffocating silence of the house. "Mom." Sarah's voice quivered with fear. "I need you to come home. Something's not right." Concern laced her mother's response, urging Sarah to explain what had happened. As she recounted the chilling encounter with the shadow in the mirror, her mother's soothing voice offered little comfort against the palpable sense of dread that hung in the air. "We'll be home as soon as we can, sweetheart. Just stay calm and stay safe," her mother reassured her before hanging up. Alone in the oppressive stillness of the house, Sarah's thoughts spiraled into a whirlwind of uncertainty. What if the shadow wasn't just a figment of her imagination? What if it was something far more sinister, something beyond her comprehension? With hesitant steps, she made her way back to the mirror, her heart hammering against her chest like a caged bird. As she gazed into its reflective surface, the shadow remained, lurking in the periphery of her vision like a malevolent specter. Summoning every ounce of courage she could muster, Sarah reached out, her fingertips grazing the cold surface of the mirror. But instead of recoiling in fear, she felt a strange sense of connection, as though the shadow was reaching out to her, beckoning her into its dark embrace. In a sudden surge of defiance, Sarah tore her gaze away from the mirror, determined to confront the sinister force that had invaded her home. With each step she took, the shadow seemed to retreat, shrinking back into the recesses of the house as though cowering from her newfound resolve. But just as she dared to hope that the nightmare was finally over, a bone-chilling whisper echoed through the empty halls, sending shivers down her spine. "You can't escape me, Sarah," the voice hissed, its words dripping with malice. "I am everywhere and nowhere. I am the darkness that lurks within your soul." With a sinking feeling of dread, Sarah realized that the shadow was not just a presence in her home, but a manifestation of her deepest fears and insecurities. It was a reflection of the darkness that dwelled within her own heart, a darkness that she had long tried to suppress and deny. But as the truth dawned upon her, so too did a glimmer of hope. For if the shadow was a part of her, then perhaps she held the power to banish it once and for all. With renewed determination, Sarah faced the mirror once more, her gaze unwavering as she confronted the darkness within. And as she stared into the abyss, she whispered a single word, a word imbued with the strength of her resolve. "Enough." In that moment, the shadows recoiled, their grip on her loosening with each passing second. And as the first rays of dawn broke through the darkness, Sarah felt a weight lift from her shoulders, a weight that had burdened her for far too long. For in the depths of her despair, she had discovered the true power of courage, the power to confront her fears and emerge stronger than ever before. And though the shadows may linger, she knew that she would never again be consumed by their darkness. For she was Sarah, and she was the light that banished the shadows from her world.
Late at night, Mark was home alone when he started hearing faint whispers coming from different corners of the house. The voices grew louder and more distinct, but he couldn't make out what they were saying. As he walked through the dark hallways, the whispers seemed to follow him, echoing in his ears. Mark felt a chilling presence surrounding him, as if the house itself was alive with unseen entities. The night had settled like a heavy blanket over Mark's home, casting long shadows that danced ominously in the dimly lit rooms. With each creak of the floorboards and every sigh of the wind outside, the house seemed to come alive, its very essence tinged with an unsettling energy. Alone in the silence of the night, Mark found himself ensnared by a sense of unease that clung to him like a second skin. It was a feeling he couldn't shake, a primal instinct warning him of impending danger. As he sat in the living room, bathed in the soft glow of lamplight, the first whispers began to drift through the air like ethereal tendrils, faint and elusive. At first, he dismissed them as nothing more than the product of an overactive imagination, the echoes of his own mind playing tricks on him in the darkness. But as the whispers grew louder, more insistent, Mark's unease deepened into a gnawing sense of dread. It was as though the very walls of the house were alive with the murmurs of unseen entities, their voices weaving through the air like strands of shadow. With a trembling hand, Mark reached for the lamp beside him, casting a feeble light that barely pierced the oppressive darkness. As he rose to his feet, the whispers seemed to coalesce around him, converging from all corners of the house like a gathering storm. Heart pounding in his chest, Mark ventured into the hallway, his footsteps muffled by the thick carpet beneath his feet. With each passing moment, the whispers grew louder, more distinct, their words taunting him with their incomprehensible meaning. Haunted by a sense of impending doom, Mark pressed on, his every sense on high alert as he navigated the labyrinthine corridors of his home. It was as though the very walls were closing in around him, suffocating him with their suffocating embrace. And then, just as suddenly as they had begun, the whispers ceased, leaving behind an eerie silence that hung heavy in the air. But Mark knew that the calm was only temporary, a prelude to the storm that lurked just beyond the horizon. With a deep breath, he steeled himself for what lay ahead, determined to confront the darkness that lurked within his home. For he knew that only by facing his fears head-on could he hope to unravel the mysteries that shrouded his existence. As he ventured deeper into the heart of the house, Mark felt the chill of the night air seeping into his bones, its icy fingers tracing patterns of frost across his skin. But even as fear threatened to consume him, he refused to falter, his resolve burning bright against the encroaching darkness. And then, just when he thought he could go no further, Mark stumbled upon a doorway hidden in the depths of the house, its ancient frame beckoning him with a silent promise of answers long overdue. With trembling hands, he pushed open the door, revealing a chamber bathed in the soft glow of moonlight filtering through the windows. And there, in the center of the room, stood a mirror, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly light that seemed to dance with a life of its own. As Mark approached the mirror, he felt a strange sense of recognition stirring deep within him, a feeling that whispered of secrets buried beneath layers of forgotten memories. And as he gazed into its depths, he saw them, the whispers, the shadows, the echoes of a past long lost to the annals of time. For in that moment, Mark realized the truth, that the whispers were not the product of some malevolent force lurking in the darkness, but fragments of his own fractured psyche, reflections of the demons that haunted his soul. With a heavy heart, he reached out, his fingers tracing the contours of the mirror's surface as though seeking solace in its embrace. And as he did, the whispers faded into the ether, their voices growing fainter with each passing second until they were little more than echoes of a distant dream. And so, as the first light of dawn painted the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Mark emerged from the depths of his ordeal, his spirit tempered by the fires of adversity. For he knew that, though the whispers may linger, he would face them with courage and conviction, his resolve unshakable in the face of the unknown.
In the quiet suburban neighborhood where Alex lived, evenings were usually peaceful. But on this particular night, the atmosphere crackled with tension. The wind outside whispered eerie secrets, and the creaks of the house seemed to echo like ghostly whispers in the dark. As Alex delved deeper into his horror movie marathon, the outside world faded away, replaced by the chilling tales unfolding on the screen. But reality soon intruded in the form of a noise, a faint, almost imperceptible sound that sent shivers down his spine. At first, Alex dismissed it as his overactive imagination, a side effect of the horror films he was watching. Yet, as the noise persisted, growing more distinct and unsettling with each passing moment, he couldn't ignore it any longer. With a hesitant gulp, Alex muted the TV and strained his ears to listen. The house seemed to hold its breath, as if waiting for something ominous to unfold. Then, like a sinister crescendo, the noise crescendoed, echoing through the silence and stirring the shadows. Heart pounding, Alex rose from the safety of his couch, the baseball bat feeling like a feeble shield against the unknown. Each step he took towards the stairs felt heavier, laden with dread and uncertainty. As he ascended, the hallway lights flickered, casting grotesque shapes upon the walls, dancing in a macabre ballet. And there, at the top of the stairs, stood the figure, a specter cloaked in darkness, a faceless menace wielding a glinting blade. For a moment, time seemed to freeze, as Alex stared into the abyss of the intruder's mask, feeling the icy tendrils of fear coil around his heart. With a primal instinct, he turned and fled, the adrenaline fueling his desperate escape. But the intruder was relentless, a shadowy specter haunting his every move. Through the labyrinthine corridors of his own home, Alex raced, his breaths ragged, his senses honed to a razor's edge. Each corner turned, each door opened, was a gamble with fate, a dance with death. In the depths of the night, as the hours stretched thin like taut strings ready to snap, Alex found himself cornered, his back pressed against the cold embrace of a locked door. The intruder's footsteps drew closer, a steady drumbeat of impending doom. Yet, in the face of despair, a flicker of defiance ignited within Alex's soul. With trembling hands and a racing mind, he pieced together fragments of courage, cobbling together a plan born of desperation and survival. In the final showdown, amidst the shadows that danced like phantoms in the moonlight, Alex faced his fears head-on, confronting the intruder in a battle of wits and wills. And as the first rays of dawn pierced the darkness, casting a golden glow upon the shattered remnants of the night, Alex emerged victorious, a survivor forged in the crucible of fear and fortitude. For in the crucible of adversity, amidst the chaos and the clamor, it is often in the darkest of nights that the brightest stars are born, illuminating the path to resilience and redemption.
In the heart of the dense woodland, where ancient trees whispered secrets to the wind and shadows danced to the rhythm of the night, Sarah's secluded house stood as a beacon of solitude. Surrounded by towering pines and veiled in the embrace of nature's embrace, it was a sanctuary from the chaos of the outside world. But on this stormy night, as rain lashed against the windows like restless spirits clamoring for release, Sarah found herself ensnared in a nightmare she could never have imagined. Her family had embarked on a journey, leaving her to weather the tempest alone, unaware of the darkness that lurked within the confines of their home. As the clock struck midnight and the storm raged on with relentless fury, Sarah sought solace in the warmth of her home. The flickering glow of the fireplace cast elongated shadows across the room, painting the walls with a tapestry of dancing light. Yet, despite the illusion of comfort, an unsettling feeling gnawed at Sarah's insides, like a slithering serpent coiled around her heart. The air seemed to hum with an otherworldly energy, thick with the weight of unseen eyes watching her every move. With trembling hands, Sarah tried to lose herself in the pages of a book, seeking refuge from the encroaching darkness that threatened to engulf her. But the words blurred together, lost in the cacophony of whispers that echoed through the empty rooms, like phantoms haunting the corridors of her mind. As the night deepened and the storm raged on, Sarah's unease turned to dread. Strange noises reverberated through the house, each creak and groan a sinister symphony of terror. Shadows danced in the corners of her vision, twisting and contorting into grotesque shapes that seemed to mock her very existence. Driven by a primal instinct, Sarah rose from the safety of her chair and ventured into the labyrinthine corridors of her home, a flickering flashlight her only guide in the sea of darkness. The air grew thick with anticipation, every step a testament to her courage in the face of the unknown. But as she descended into the depths of the basement, a sudden gust of wind slammed the door shut behind her, sealing her fate in a prison of shadows. Panic seized her heart, a cold hand squeezing the air from her lungs as she realized the gravity of her situation. In the dim light of her flickering flashlight, Sarah saw them, the shadows, twisting and writhing like serpents in the dark, their whispered promises of doom hanging heavy in the air. Fear clutched at her throat, a suffocating embrace that threatened to consume her whole. Desperate for escape, Sarah searched frantically for a way out, her hands trembling as she groped blindly through the darkness. But the basement seemed to stretch on endlessly, its walls closing in around her like a vice, suffocating her with their oppressive weight. With each passing moment, Sarah's resolve wavered, her mind clouded by the suffocating grip of fear. The shadows drew closer, their tendrils reaching out to ensnare her, dragging her deeper into the abyss with every faltering step. But amidst the darkness, a glimmer of hope flickered like a lone candle in the night. With every ounce of strength she could muster, Sarah fought against the encroaching tide, her spirit a beacon of defiance against the forces that sought to claim her. And as the first light of dawn broke through the storm clouds, illuminating the world in a wash of golden hues, Sarah emerged from the depths of the basement, battered but unbroken, her spirit forged in the crucible of darkness. For in the depths of despair, amidst the shadows that lurked in the corners of her mind, Sarah discovered a strength she never knew she possessed, a resilience born of adversity, a courage that defied the very essence of fear. And as she stood beneath the canopy of the forest, the echoes of her ordeal fading into the morning mist, Sarah knew that she had triumphed over the darkness that had threatened to consume her, emerging stronger and braver than she had ever been before.
In the quaint old house where Lily resided, time seemed to slow down, especially when she found herself alone. Her parents, adventurers at heart, often embarked on journeys that left Lily to wander the labyrinthine halls, with nothing but her thoughts and her cherished collection of antique dolls for companionship. The weekend they departed for their latest escapade, Lily's heart brimmed with a peculiar mix of excitement and trepidation, while the prospect of solitude intrigued her. The old house had a way of whispering secrets, its creaking floors and shadowy corners hinting at mysteries long forgotten. Among Lily's collection stood Isabella, a porcelain beauty with delicate features frozen in time. Unbeknownst to Lily, Isabella harbored a dark secret, a secret that would soon unravel the fragile threads of reality that bound their world together. As the night descended like a velvet cloak, shrouding the house in an eerie stillness, Lily's solitude was shattered by a soft whisper that seemed to emanate from the depths of her bedroom. Heart pounding, she followed the ethereal sound, her steps hesitant, her pulse quickening with each passing moment. There, bathed in the moonlight's silver embrace, stood Isabella, her porcelain lips parting to reveal words laden with ancient sorrow. She spoke of curses woven in the fabric of time, of an evil witch whose malice knew no bounds. And in her haunting melody, Lily heard the echoes of a desperate plea for salvation. As the night wore on, Isabella's voice wove a tapestry of dread, each syllable dripping with the weight of centuries-old anguish. Shadows danced in the flickering candlelight, their tendrils reaching out like specters in the dark, and Lily felt a chill settle deep within her bones. With each passing hour, the house seemed to come alive with a malevolent energy, its walls pulsing with a sinister rhythm that echoed the pounding of Lily's heart. Objects moved of their own accord, whispers lingered in the air like ghosts of forgotten memories, and the very essence of the night thrummed with a palpable sense of foreboding. Driven by a fierce determination to unravel the mysteries that bound them, Lily embarked on a perilous quest to break the curse that held Isabella captive. Armed with nothing but her wits and an unyielding resolve, she followed cryptic clues that led her deeper into the heart of darkness. Through labyrinthine corridors and hidden passageways, Lily braved the unknown, her every step a testament to her courage in the face of overwhelming odds. Time became a merciless adversary, its relentless march threatening to consign them both to a fate sealed in porcelain and shadow. And as the first rays of dawn painted the sky in hues of crimson and gold, Lily stood on the precipice of destiny, her pulse racing, her breath suspended in the stillness of the morning air. With a trembling hand and a prayer on her lips, she confronted the witch's hidden lair, her heart a beacon of hope in the encroaching darkness. In a final act of defiance against the forces that sought to claim her, Lily shattered the chains of fate that bound Isabella to her porcelain prison, unleashing a torrent of light that banished the shadows once and for all. And as the curse was broken, and the witch's malevolence dissipated like mist in the morning sun, Lily knew that she had triumphed over darkness itself. For in the crucible of adversity, amidst the echoes of 1,000 whispered secrets, it is often in the darkest of nights that the light of courage shines brightest, illuminating the path to redemption and renewal.